Hi and welcome to Outwell and to the Vermont XLP from our premium collection. It's a large family tent that's aimed to sleep up to 7 people, with bedrooms located at the back, a large sealed living space and also a large panoramic room at the front. With it being from our premium collection, you'll find that we're using our Outex 6000 fly sheet on here. What does that mean? Well, it's a taffeta polyester material, so very good quality, durable, long-lasting material, which has been PU coated on the inside, and it also has fully taped seams with a hydrostatic head of 6,000 millimeters, so you can be sure that even in the hardest of rainfall, this will keep you dry. From front to back, we're using a steel frame, so that makes this tent very, very solid, very stable in high wind conditions. In fact, we have tested this tent to withstand a force 10 on the Beaufort scale. All of the frame is identical from front to back, so when it comes to pitching it, you're going to find that nice and easy as well. You can't really go wrong. You can't get the wrong pole in the wrong place because each and every one is exactly the same. We've got ventilation all the way around the tent here on each panel. So you can just see here under these panels here, there is a mesh panel below, just allowing cool fresh air into the tent. If it gets a little bit too chilly or too cold inside, all you have to do is simply take away these Velcro tabs like this and just press down onto the outside panel, and that will close that over. There are some more panels on the back of the tent and of course on the other side as well. You can also see we have large windows all the way around this tent here and all the way around the front. Now the Vermont XLP, yes, it's in our premium collection, but the P does not stand for premium. The P stands for panoramic. In that you have this large panoramic room at the front here with windows on every single panel, giving you great panoramic views when you're inside the tent. All of the windows are also tinted as well, so that serves two key functions. One is that it's going to reduce the amount of glare from the sun when you're inside the tent, keeping you a little bit more comfortable. And second, they are obviously going to give you a little bit more privacy when you're in there too. Some other features to talk about then, we have our wind stabilizer system on this tent here. So yes, it's already very stable, but we want to make sure it's one of the most stable tents on the market. So what we've done is added these to the tent. So when you're setting it up, what you do, you wrap these tabs around the pole and fasten them into place like so. You'll find that there's one at the top and at the bottom of every pole around the tent. And this is where we then attach our guy lines. So once you take the guy lines out, peg them into place, what you will find is that it pulls all the material against the frame of the tent, keeping it much more taut and therefore much more stable. As I say, tested to a force 10 on the Beaufort scale. Some other really nice highlights then, we have lots of reflective points around the tent. So in the dark when you have your head torch on, or if you've got a standard torch, then these will light up and you'll be able to see that nice and clearly. We also have our luminous guy lines all the way around the tent, which are pre-attached, so you don't need to attach these yourself, but with them being luminous, that should stop you from tripping over them quite as much. Each guy line does have its own retainer, so when it comes to taking the tent down, we simply need to wrap up the guy lines in our hands and then just pop them into these loops just here, so that the next time you come to use the tent, the guy lines are going to be easily accessible and you're not going to have to waste time trying to untangle a messy bunch of guy lines. So something else that we supply you with on the Vermont XLP is our easy pegging system. This is where we supply you with 3 different styles of peg for using around the tent. We have the solid steel anchor pegs here, which are for the 4 corners of the tent, and they would go into the grey pegging points. We have the black plastic pegs here, which are for all of the black pegging points around the tent. And we have the luminous peg, which funnily enough goes with the luminous guy lines. So it really is in the name there, the easy pegging system, making sure it's nice and easy for you to get the right peg in the right place. So just another couple of things on the outside that I would like to highlight to you before we head to the inside to show you all the great features there. We have these mud valances that run all the way around the front panorama room, and what that will encourage is any rainwater to run down the tent and away from the inside, keeping that ground sheet as dry as possible. It's quite a unique front to the Vermont XLP here because you have quite a few different options as to how you can have these doors open. You can see here that we have the central main door open and rolled away at the moment, but what you can choose to do is open up the 2 panels either side of that to make it a much more open front, or obviously you can sort of individually open any of these 3 doors. Another great feature is that when you do have all 3 doors open and rolled back, the 2 side panels on either side here can also be rolled back to create almost a sort of extension feel to the front of the tent. So it's fully open all the way around here. And really what that's going to do is just bring the great outdoors to the indoors. So speaking of indoors, When the main door is open itself, you can see it's like a full walk-in height. I'm quite tall, and I can walk in and out of here no problem at all. I don't have to duck to get in here. It's also a good wide front door here, so getting all of your furniture, your storage units, your sleeping bags, all that kit, it's going to be nice and easy to get in and out of the tent. So this area here, as I mentioned earlier on, is our panorama room. And as I said, you've got windows on every single panel all the way around you, so you get great panoramic views from inside your tent looking outside. It does have a ground sheet in this area, which is exactly the same material as what we use at the back. The only difference is here that we toggle in the ground sheet. It's bathtub in style here, so it does come up at the edges. Hopefully going to keep out most of the draft in this area. But what you do have here is a really good sized space for tables and chairs, storage, all that sort of stuff. What we also do in this area is we do supply you with 2 hanging rails that just slot into these hanging tabs here. So a nice little feature on those. So then between the panoramic room and the main living area, you have this dividing wall, which is pretty huge in itself. What we have is large ventilation panels on here, which will allow, if the front doors are open, cool fresh air to come in all the way throughout the tent. If it does get a little bit too chilly in this area here, or if you want a little bit more privacy, then what you do have is a curtain just behind these mesh panels here, so you can just bring that up if needs be. The door is just simply zipped, so we can open this right up if you wanted one big large area, or obviously with the zip at the top and at the bottom, you can choose exactly how much the door is going to be open. So speaking of open, you have a huge big open space back here in this tent. Certainly if you're looking for a tent that feels like a home away from home and you want plenty of space, this is probably going to be the one for you. There's plenty of head height. I said earlier on I'm quite tall. I'm about 6'3", and you can see above me here I've got plenty of height, and there's still lots and lots of space around here too. So as I was saying before, ground sheet wise is identical from front to back. The only difference in this area is that it's fully sealed all the way around it here, so there is no draft coming in through the ground sheet. There's no dust, there's no dirt, and hopefully there's not going to be any creepy crawlies coming in through these ground sheets either, because like I say, they are fully sealed. So something you may have just noticed on the way across to that side door there is that we also supply a walk-in wardrobe. Yep, that's right, a walk-in wardrobe in a tent. Here it is. The hanging rail is also provided, so you can hang your kit up in here no problem. If you don't want that, obviously you don't have to put it in there. You can hide whatever you want away in here. At the back of the tent is where you'll find the bedrooms. And as I mentioned earlier on, this tent can sleep up to 7 people. So there are 3 separate bedrooms here. Now, a really nice point here is all these bedrooms come pre-attached. So that's a job that you don't have to worry about. They're already in here, and how they're attached is with our wave-shaped hanging point system. Now what this does is not just give it a nice bit of detail, it also has a function of taking any of the stress point on that top seam of the bedroom away by suspending it on that mesh there. As I mentioned then, there are 3 separate bedrooms with 1 large bedroom in the middle and then 2 identical sizes either side of that. Features wise, we have pockets on the outside which are ideal for personal sort of storage space. You also have ventilation panels on the doors themselves, which again have curtains behind here, which we have closed at the moment, so you can open that up if you want a little bit better ventilation, or keep it closed for privacy. If we just have a little look in here, what you will notice is that also we have some ventilation panels across the back of the bedrooms, which correspond to the outside ventilation. The ceiling is a blackout ceiling, so that's obviously much darker material just to stop that bright sunshine waking you up in the morning. Over on the sides of both of this bedroom, you'll see that we have these dividing sheets that obviously separate all the bedrooms. This one in particular fully zips closed, and the one on this side here zips down both sides. Now what you can do is obviously open these up and create one large bedroom across the back if you need be, or you can have whatever configuration suits you best. In this side here, we'll just show you another couple of nice features, like these handy storage pockets down in the corner here, again ideal for smaller personal possessions. And we also, on the outside windows, have these low light windows here. A great feature of this particular part of the bedroom is the fact that we use our universal inner, so that's where we have this zip here, which will allow you just to drop this bedroom down, and we'll show you now how that works. here, I'd like to point out that we have our cable entry point at the side door here. This will allow you to bring any cables from the outside to the inside of the tent without having to have the doors open here. Now what you will then find is coming away from the cable entry point is that you'll have cable tidies that run all the way along this seam. If you have any lanterns that have cables, we have a lantern hanging point in the centre of the tent. If you then continue the other way, down to the bottom, you'll find that there's another cable entry point down there as well. Both of these side doors have full mesh doors, which you can see we've dropped down on this side here, and the one on that side was obviously rolled up. So again, you've got the versatility of no matter which way the wind is coming from. If you want ventilation in the tent, you've got your front door, you've got two side doors as well. I did mention all the windows earlier on, but what I didn't mention is that every single window has its own curtain. So if you do want a little bit of privacy, or if you're getting too much sunlight coming in from one side of the tent, then all we have to do is just simply untoggle the curtain at the bottom. You'll then find there are some zips here, and we can choose exactly how much light we're letting in or how much privacy we're needing. So the last thing to talk you through is the optional extras that are available for this tent. There are two types of carpet for the living space at the back here. We have a fleece carpet, and we also have a 3-layered insulated carpet as well. There is a footprint available to go under the whole tent, so if you wanted to protect this front ground sheet and the sealed ground sheet at the back, then what you would do is pop your footprint on the ground, then pitch the tent on top of that. That way, when you come to take the tent down, these ground sheets are going to be clean and dry. There is also a side awning available for this tent if you want even more space added to it, and we also have our roof protector as well. So there you have it, that's all the features of the fantastic Vermont XLP from our premium collection, and all the optional extras too. Thanks very much for watching.